welcome back and welcome to Intro to Zapier. Now, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, but if I'm pronouncing it wrong, then I apologize. Maybe it's Zapier. I don't know. I'm just going to say Zapier. And it doesn't matter. We're just trying to learn the platform. We don't care how to say it. Now, if you're anything like me, you have probably been looking at all these tech leaders saying that if you have a bunch of AI agents, they could replace a bunch of software engineers on your team. And not just software engineers, but think of HR, think of recruiters. There's a lot of roles that, to be honest, a lot of what they do is semi-repetitive. And if you have a good AI agent or multiple AI agents that learn based on this data, they might be able to do a lot of the similar work that you or other people in your company are already doing. Now, I'm not here to tell you that these AI agents are amazing or that they will definitely take over all of our jobs in the next few years. I can't say that. Maybe in the future, they'll get to a point where they are very good. But if we're thinking about it that way, if you have these tech leaders that want to come in, or these business owners that want to come in and reduce their workforce and get a ton of AI agents, well, these AI agents are not going to set themselves up, and they're also most likely not going to be able to maintain themselves. You maybe could get a loop of AI agents troubleshooting other AI agents, but in my opinion, it'd probably be cheaper and a lot easier to just have some employees managing these AI agents. So regardless what the future holds, it's not a bad idea to get familiar with how to create AI agents and how to maintenance them. So I'm assuming that's why you're taking this course, because you either are interested in skilling up for future roles that maybe require knowledge of creating AI agents, or maybe you want to automate some of your work. So if there's any tedious or monotonous tasks, you can rely on these linear workflow automations with Zapier, or you can also utilize agents. Let me actually go through what Zapier offers. So here are some main components of Zapier. So first up, we have Zaps. So Zaps are individual automated workflows. So think of something that follows a linear kind of path. So if this, then that. So essentially what I'm saying is, if so-and-so happens, then do the following action. An example would be whenever a lead fills out a form, maybe send an email out to our sales team to inform them that we have a potential new lead into a sale. And there's definitely some other classifications you could do depending on the data that the end user fills out to help your sales team. And it doesn't just have to be sales. Maybe something else happens where if a ticket is submitted, have this automation read the ticket and then classify and then send to a certain area. That might be a better use case for an AI agent rather than a Zap, but we'll run through some examples of using Zaps and AI agents, and we'll see what's best for different use cases. But that's just one component of what's offered with Zapier. Our main focus in this course is going to be their AI agents. Now, of course, Zaps are equally as important because it is useful to have these workflow automations, because it does handle a lot of tedious tasks that you might not want to do. But if your task requires more advanced logic or the need to reason before doing something, that's where AI agents come into play. So essentially these agents are goal-oriented AI assistants. So you give them an end goal or a task, they'll work with the logic that you implement and the knowledge that you give them, and they'll make a best case or best judgment kind of reply or response to that. Now these agents, they follow natural language instructions. So if I just tell the AI agent to do so-and-so, here's background knowledge for this task, and once this is done, then do this. So essentially, I'm just explaining in pure English what this agent should do. An example could be monitor my incoming emails and then classify emails based on the topic or language of the email. So it's going to read through that subject and the description of the email, and then it's going to classify this based on how it sounds. So if it sounds like someone's asking for a refund, it's going to reply automatically and say, we'll get someone from our help team or our support team to reach out regarding your refund. Here's a knowledge base article talking about our return policy or something along those lines. Or maybe it reads more like a bug or maybe a feature request or something like that. Then it would forward it to like the development team or the IT help team, the IT support team, and then it'd go from there. So essentially agents are able to have an end goal in mind, and they work through based on the logic and the knowledge we give them on how to make that happen. All right, next up, Zapier also offers chatbots. I'm sure we're all familiar with chatbots. If you go to, I don't know, like your doctor's portal or something like that, or Amazon, you are most likely going to be talking to a chatbot at first. And then maybe as time goes on, or if you request a human, then they'll reroute you to an actual person. But as generative AI gets better, these chatbots are actually pretty good and they can understand your situation and they can reply correctly. So these are conversational interfaces and they interact with our end users via a messaging platform. So for example, I could set a chatbot up via Slack. So maybe if I create a support channel, I'll have this chatbot quote unquote listen whenever someone sends a message, and then it'll reply appropriately based on whatever they send. So again, chatbots is another thing we'll check out with Zapier. All right, next up we've got Canvas. And with Canvas, this is a visual planning tool for mapping out automations and business processes. So an example would be if we wanted to create a visualization of what happens when an end user submits a ticket. So if a ticket is submitted, maybe we want to have this ticket be classified as billing, support, a bug, a feature request, or something like that. And then we'll have it forwarded to the respective group. So with Canvas, it's not actually creating, the automation. It's not creating the workflow that will then end up. Canvas is just a visual planning tool. It doesn't actually create our workflow automation. We'll have to go do that ourselves, but we can visualize it with Canvas. All right, so here's our Zapier homepage. So we have our home tab on the left-hand side. We can also navigate to Zaps, tables, interfaces, and then our chatbots, Canvas, and agents. Now we're not going to be talking about interfaces or tables in this. It's not really necessary. It's not really a focus of Zapier. We're going to be talking about Zaps. We want to talk about how we can automate things. We want to talk about AI agents. We want to know how we can have an AI assistant help us do our work, essentially. So again, if you're in a situation where you're trying to automate different tasks, then you could use an AI agent to kind of run through and do different operations for you. All right, next up, we have our Zapier Zaps. Now, these are automated workflows that trigger based on an event. So the below example will listen for a message that is sent in a specific Slack channel. Now, in my case, I made this chatbot Slack channel. So the channel name is chatbot. And whenever a new message is posted there, I am grabbing the message or thread ID, and then the chatbot is automatically replying to this message. So once it generates that reply, we then send the channel message in Slack. So step 4 down here, this is what actually sends the message. And step 3 is the AI agent actually coming up with what to say. It's not actually replying yet, it's replying down here. Here's another example of a Zap. This is a workflow that listens for a message to be posted in a specific Discord channel. And this is actually my Discord. So whenever you join the Discord channel, I have this sending a DM to also show you my bundle deal through WAP, which I offer courses on for a monthly price. So if you don't want to pay per course, and maybe I have multiple courses you want to check out, a better deal would be signing up for the monthly and then accessing all those courses. Now, I know that's a shameless plug right there, so ignore that if you're not interested. But essentially what's happening is the new message is posted in the channel. We're grabbing the user ID of who joined. And essentially what I had to do here, and we can talk more about it when we actually try to build this out, but what I had to do was use a Discord bot called CarlGG, or CarlBot, and I needed to have it ping new members when they joined to say, welcome to the server. And then this actually would grab the member pinged, because I tried to do it whenever a new person joined the Discord, but it was just grabbing old names. So this was an innovative way I came up with to kind of get around that and get the correct member. It looks for the message posted by CarlGG, tagging the person saying welcome to the Discord, and then it grabs the user ID of what the Discord bot CarlGG tagged, and then it sends them a direct message. Assuming they have their DMs open, this would go through without a problem. Now, of course, it'd be easier to witness this, and as we build this, it'd be a lot easier to understand. But for now, just keep it in mind as a high-level overview of how Zaps work. All right, next up, we have our Zapier agents. So these are conversational agents that can follow instructions, they can reason, and they can pull data from our connected applications and respond as if they're a human being. So for this AI agent, I am monitoring my email and I'm automatically replying based on this content I gave it. So I fed this AI agent this test.pdf file you see right here. And within this file, I have a bunch of different instructions on how to reply to something. So for example, maybe I get an email from someone at cloudtraderacademy.com at the domain. If it's an internal member, this AI agent would kind of reply differently than if it was emailing someone from an outside domain. So maybe someone from at gmail.com is replying to it. It's going to treat them differently than how it treats someone with an internal email. And actually, I believe whenever an email came from at cloudtraderacademy.com, it would just ignore it. So it wouldn't even reply. Now there's a bunch of different criteria we can set, we can feed into this AI agent, but then it can reply dynamically and appropriately. I also added a signature format. It doesn't make the most sense now because your name would never be filled because I never gave this AI agent a name. I could feed it a name and then it would go by that. So if I wanted to name this AI agent like John Smith, it would say best John Smith, founder Cloud Trader Academy. But I mean, I guess that wouldn't make sense because I'm not John Smith. So, forget the signature format. Obviously, I'd have to come up with something better, but this is just for testing purposes. But essentially, these AI agents, you're able to create multiple, you're able to feed it different information, you're able to connect different applications, and then this agent can automatically go and pull data or it can post data. So maybe someone emails the AI agent an invoice, it will read invoice either in the subject or in the attachment, and then it'll go and automatically apply it or add it into our Google Drive or post it into our Slack, for example. Now, of course, this would be a lot safer if you were using it as an internal tool. I don't think I would have an external facing agent listen to emails from random people because you could just send in a virus PDF and then just name it invoice, and then the AI agent would automatically grab it and then throw it into our Google Drive, and that would obviously be a problem. But certainly there's most likely security workarounds you could do. Maybe an invoice would have to follow a certain kind of structure to clarify that it is an invoice, and those are all rules we could add and kind of feed into our AI agent. But of course, if it is an internal AI agent, that would be a lot easier to manage. All right, next up we have Zapier chatbots. So these are conversational bots which respond to an end user's input in a live chat. So the example down below is just a chatbot I made. The name is Test. We can see the model it's using is GPT-4o Mini, which is a model from OpenAI. And then we can just see the last updated time. You can also see I'm on a 7-day trial as well. So again, you don't have to pay up front. You can use a trial, see if you like Zapier, if you like it, or if you want to use it for your workplace environment, you go ahead and have your workplace pay for it or anything along those lines. But when we're testing it out for this course, we'll be using a trial. All right, following on to that, Zapier chatbot, we can add custom logic, knowledge, and we can integrate this bot into different apps. So think of Slack, think of Facebook. I think you can do Instagram. I'm not sure. I'd have to verify that. But for example, if someone reached out on Facebook, maybe you're running a store page on Facebook, someone reaches out to this chatbot for support, you would have all this information fed into this chatbot. It would read the message from the end user asking for support, and it would make an appropriate reply. Also within this, we see the knowledge base, we see the logic, the theme, so you can change the profile picture, the name of the AI chatbot. Integration is the apps that it works with. And again, we could go through all of this once we actually hop over and make a chatbot. But let's look at one of these examples. So this is me chatting with the Zapier chatbot in Slack. So essentially what I had to do was whenever someone sent a message in this chatbot channel, Zapier would automatically get triggered. And if you remember, if we go all the way back to the beginning, let me go all the way back to this one, we have a workflow that actually calls this chatbot. So what happens is when a new message is posted to a channel, run this workflow. Get the message or thread ID, send this over to Zapier chatbot so it knows who to reply to. So we are using a Zap along with a chatbot in order to reply to me. So that's what's happening. So this chatbot said, hello, Cloudtrail Academy. Welcome to the channel. How can I assist you? And again, we could customize whatever it's in how it dynamically replies, because there's a lot of custom logic we could feed into these chatbots. So it's a really neat feature to check out. I believe you can change the name in the profile picture based on the theme. I didn't play around with that just because it wasn't super important, but we could definitely check that out, especially if you want to use this for your workplace environment. Now, lastly, we have Zapier Canvas. So essentially Canvas is how you can visualize an entire workflow before building anything out. So it might look like this is actually good to go and able to run, but this is just visual. This is just a drawing or a schematic of what I need to go build for real. So essentially we are just in a open, think of like a Figma worksheet where you can drag and drop these kind of graphics. And again, it's all visual. So nothing here is actually running, but essentially what this visual is saying is that whenever a ticket is submitted into Zendesk, we want to automatically tag it based on keywords within the ticket. Imagine if a ticket has keywords like return or refund or something like that, we would change this tag to billing and then it would post it in the billing Slack channel. So that's essentially how this would work. And this right here is supposed to indicate a switch statement. So if the tag is billing, do this. If the tag is question, do that. If the tag is bug, then do this, and so on. Now down here we have our tool menu. So we can add zaps in here, chatbots, tables, interfaces. We can also grab these connections. So maybe we want another step to happen here. And again, none of this actually happens. It's just visualizing it. So I would really only use Canvas if you have a very complex automation. Then I would do that. And I would do it for two reasons. It would help you as a developer or multiple developers understand what needs to be created. So if you have a pretty big workflow you need to create, multiple developers could work on different parts of it and they could reference this overall visualization. But it's not only good for development teams. If you're also working with, a business process owner, then you would need to show them the visualization as well. So you can show them how everything's working. So there is use to using Canvas. I don't know if it will help us too much in this course, but of course I will teach you how to use it, but we will most likely not be building anything super complex. I'll teach you what you need to know, and then from there it's just getting creative and using it for what you want to use it for. But I'll teach you everything you need to know so you can be at a point where you can build advanced zaps and advanced AI agents. All right, so it's nice to talk about this stuff, but if we want to actually learn it, we're going to have to start creating things. So let's hop over into creating our first zap. I'll see you there.